Okay, this is Griff in Humboldt Redwood State Parks, having a whole day of technological issues. If you can see me and hear me, please give me a heart with a we can see you and hear you and you're not sideways. I would totally appreciate it. I've had amazingly difficult challenges with technology. And you know, COVID virus has affected all of us in different ways. Okay? Some of us severely and tragically. And I'm really grateful that that hasn't happened to my family, and I'm devastated that it's happening at all, especially in the United States. But the way that the COVID virus has affected me is that I'm having to learn all these technological things that I have never learned before. And I'm having to learn it as people are waiting for me to do stuff, and it's been really challenging, super challenging. So I'm learning so much. Someone just tried to call me, so I'm gonna try this again, y'all. So please excuse the unprofessional everything, but that's what happens. So now we're gonna turn this on, and we're gonna see if this is working. I'm not sideways anymore, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. Thank you, April. So we're gonna get going here in a minute. All right. Whew. You know, we have all been challenged. And you know, one of the things we need to do right now, I'm Griff from Humboldt Redwood State Parks, by the way. This is me giving advice after I just threw a fit over technology. Here's advice, is to understand that all of us are under a lot of different kind of stress than we're used to right now. And we're trying to deal with it. And for me, it's been really challenging. I've been sheltering in place by myself, even though I'm in the most beautiful place on earth, Humboldt Redwood State Park. I mean, you guys are like, you're really gonna complain, look where you're at. But the technology, let me tell you, the technology. Whew. All right, so we're going to talk about hearts. So hearts, what do they signify to you? Hearts, what do they signify to you? And I think there's a lag on here, so I'll probably move on. Hey, Noberto and Sandra, awesome. So hearts have signified in our society love. And I've always wondered where that came from, but I never looked it up. And the other day I finally looked it up. Like, why does hearts, like the heart, red heart, why does that mean love? Like, that's not, you know, it's weird. So I looked it up and found out that that's only been around since medieval times. And it was started by a guy who put it in a poem, like, I'll give my heart to you. And back then they drew the heart a different shape, and it was kind of ugly, and so it got turned into that like scalloped heart we all know today, and that's where hearts came from. And now it's like Valentine's hearts and all this kind of stuff, and I love you with all my heart. So hearts became this big symbol of love. But recently during coronavirus, it's began to signify something else. So, and what that is gratitude for our healthcare workers and doctors and nurses during this time of coronavirus. So if you look right here, a lot of people on their doors are putting these big hearts and these thank yous, and I know that's backwards to you guys, but it says, thank you, doctors, nurses, and healthcare workers. And you know, I'm open this up by talking about my struggles with technology and how frustrated I get. You know, I get really frustrated at technology. But can you imagine going into a hospital with super sick people every day, seeing their families come in and gather around their bed and weep and cry, and then knowing that you might have exposed yourself to the virus and then having to go home to your own family? Talk about challenges. And so I just want to give it up for my healthcare workers. Nurses and doctors doing this. I know my problems and challenges pale in comparison to what you're doing, and you're going to work every day, and God bless you for it. And I just think it's wonderful. And so remember them if you want to put a heart on your door, and to thank the healthcare workers and doctors and nurses. I strongly encourage it. Hello, Julia and Lily and Jennifer. So hearts mean a lot of things in our society. And it's interesting because there's been hearts on the North Coast for years and years and years and years and years. That heart shape has been here for years and years and years. In fact, I'm going to show it. Maybe millions of years. I'm not sure. So there's this plant in Humboldt Redwood State Park right now called bleeding hearts. Okay, can you guys see that? That is a bleeding heart plant. And I don't know how good this but they're little hearts. Yes, Sandra, and you essential workers too. Thank you very, very much. Heart for y'all as well. Yeah, or worse, Megan, having the family look through the windows, you know, healthcare workers, so I'm going to dedicate these little bleeding hearts here. They're blooming right now, and every time I look at them, I'm going to think about the healthcare workers, the doctors, the nurses, and the family of the COVID victims, and I'm going to think about them. This is going to be my living tribute. I have a heart on the, I put a heart on the visitor center door today, but there's hearts out here too. And these bleeding hearts are beautiful plants by themselves, and right now they're going to serve a dual purpose of reminding me about all the nurses and the doctors and the healthcare workers whose challenges are so much greater than mine, even though mine feel great, like goodness sakes. So these beautiful bleeding hearts, which from now on are going to remind me of doctors and nurses and healthcare workers during the COVID virus, these have been here for who knows how long, and they have a really interesting story. So one of the stories is they are visited by all kinds of different pollinators. So when you see pink, you often think of what kind of pollinator? We have them in Pennsylvania too. Oh, interesting. I've heard there's several different types. I think we have 3 types in California. So, and they come in all different colors. So these are wonderful, shade tolerant. You can plant them in your garden. If they're native to your area, please plant them. If they're not native to your area, you know, maybe look for some native plants. But anyways, sounds like they're native all over the United States. These Pacific bleeding hearts are visited by, who likes pink flowers and red flowers? Hummingbirds do. So hummingbirds come and they visit these flowers. I haven't seen that yet. I read about that, but I can't wait to see that because I love seeing hummingbirds, and I've never seen them on a Pacific bleeding heart. Also, yes, Emily, you are right. Hummingbirds. And Sandra, yes, some butterflies, but usually butterflies like to land on flowers. So like they need like a platform, you know, but there are some butterflies that can hover, but usually like big aster, like sunflower family members, those are good for butterflies. Also several native bees. And you know, the United States has over 4,000 types of native bees. None of them make honey, and only a couple of them do hives, but they are all beautiful and interesting and super, super important. And you can learn about them by going to Xerces Society. There's also some native bee pages on Facebook. These Pacific bleeding hearts right here, they do something that Trillium did. So if you guys saw my live video about Trillium, I introduced the word aleosome to you. An aleosome is like, it means fatty or oil, and it's this structure that's on the seeds of some plants, especially on the East Coast, they have this more often, but an aleosome indicates a symbiotic relationship, so a cooperation with ants. And so this one is Dicentra formosa. You are correct, Megan. That's the scientific name of this Pacific bleeding heart. So the ants go to the pods of these and they grab the seeds out. And there's probably a smell or something that they find. And bleeding heart seeds are black, and they have like a little white aleosome, which is like just like a little fatty thing, and that's what the ants are after. So they take these seeds and they walk back to their home, they eat the aleosome off, and then they discard the seed like the trillium. This is the same story as a trillium flower, okay? And they discard the seed in their cemetery that also has lots of frass, which is the cool name for insect poop, and the bleeding heart grows out of that. So it's a symbiotic relationship with a plant. And the thing that's so fascinating about that just blows my mind when I think about it is, how did this plant not only have a relationship with all these different pollinators, so it knows how it produces nectar, which does nothing for the plant other than attract a pollinator, and then it, you know, is the right color and shape for the pollinators it's trying to attract. So it co-evolved with them. So we've heard about evolutionary arms races. This is evolutionary cooperation. We've heard of survival of the fittest. This is survival of the most cooperative, which I think is more common than survival of the fittest. So, and then after it makes seed, after it's pollinated by a hummingbird or a moth or a native bee, I think mostly just native bees and hummingbirds, then it has another relationship with another animal, ants, to distribute its seeds, because you don't want your seeds to fall right by you, because then if you're the mom plant, you're going to be competing with your babies for resources and water, and you might shade them out. So you want your babies to disperse. So all plants have well, not all plants, but most plants have a seed dispersal mechanism, and for this plant, it is ants, which is so cool. so cool. Everything is connected to everything, and it's important. And hearts as a symbol has become even more special to me now that I know that it's being used for healthcare workers during this coronavirus, and just like empathizing with them and putting myself in my shoes during my struggles with like technology today. I got really upset about it, and then I just like looked at the heart over there, and I was like, man, I have it so easy compared to those folks, and I'm really grateful that I have it easy, but I'm also really grateful that they have the toughness and the grit to do that every day, and the compassion to show up for work. Like, good for them. And so, you know, and all the rest of the essential workers too. But if you have a doctor, a nurse, a healthcare worker in your life, you know, check on them, take them food, you know, like cook them something, go dance on their porch. No, don't do that. They might call the police on you. But speaking of dancing, shelter in place dance break. I did one on Humboldt Redwood State Parks page. Would love to see your shelter in place dance break, because we need to break this monotony. We need to show each other gratitude. We need to plant some, you know, if you live in the area where bleeding hearts grow, plant some bleeding hearts, you know, and every time you see them bloom, think about this time that we're going through right now, and hopefully it'll be over by next spring when your bleeding hearts bloom, but that you can remember the sacrifice that our doctors and our nurses and our healthcare workers and our essential workers are making for us right now. And when you think about them and the things they deal with every day, it might make your problem seem just a little bit smaller. So thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to do the same exact live on my Humboldt Redwood State Park page at 3:30. And just remember that we have a live program every day at 3 o'clock here. A live program, and we might start doing some canned programs too. And we have some interesting announcements coming up that you definitely want to tune into, because we're going to have fun. We want to have fun with this. We want to like make sure that we are grateful for the people who are doing good, but we also want to make sure that you understand that California State Parks' mission is to educate and provide a place to explore. And since a lot of you aren't exploring right now, we still want to provide you with some education, some edutainment. And thank you very much for joining me. Please like and share, and I will see you all next. Oh, actually, Sunday I'll be doing another live. So thank you very much. Looks nice and sunny there. Oh yeah, it's like today said winter's over. Hey, I almost said Lily. Lily. Hey, Lily. All right, so what's up, Lorena? Thank you guys very much. Hey, Sarah, for coming and joining me and watching. I totally appreciate it. And I'm going to take a break, and then I'll be at Humboldt Redwood State Park page at 3:30. Thank you, and bye.